Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning, South Florida, and hello, world. This is Robert Henderson Jr., certified financial planner, certified tax coach, um, coming to you live in the beautiful studios of the Henderson Financial Group. Yes, sister in law, business partner, co host, Lynda V. Harris. She's on her way, but we don't want to hold up and stop the show because I have a lot to cover today. We're gonna keep her chair warm for her, so when she comes in, she can slide right in. But I know that we're supposed to start at 9, and it's 9:06, and this is a new time for us because for years, 15 years, we've been coming on the air at 8 o'clock, and then we just changed it to 9 o'clock. So everybody should be bright eyed and bushy tailed and be here on time. But hey, you know, it's life. What can we say? Good morning, Miss Dorothy Henderson. Um, I was thinking about the show today, and the reason why I came up with this show is because I was talking with a client that came in earlier on a client review, annual review, and we were just talking, and a lot of the financial vocabulary, I call it financial jargon, most people don't understand. So I started expressing and talking to him about it, and he was saying how he understands the way I deliver it. And I said, you're not alone. You're not by yourself. It's a lot of people who really don't understand the financial jargon. So I want to discuss that and talk to you all about that today. How you doing, Patrick? Patrick, how you doing, Mr. and Mrs. Redhead? Damon Nelson, how you guys doing? Man, we got past that crazy tax day of April 15th, April 16th. Um, and a lot of us are still on extension, but you still have time. Every year we go through this. So right now we should be, well, probably in June, we should be taking a look at the taxes and tax ramifications and strategy for 2022 tax planning strategy. So we should be doing that. So you always want to be early before the plane takes off. You don't want to ride right as the plane is leaving and you saying open the door. And most people do that when it comes to taxes. So tax planning is very, very important. Larissa really, she gets aggravated when people come to her at the last minute, and especially when she tells them what to do throughout the year and they didn't do it. So I can understand that. And a lot of people will just be people. How you doing, P? What's happening? People will be people. Um, but now we're adults, and you got to get your financial house in order. There's time for change, and you got to grow, and it's something good about changing and growing. Good morning, Facebook users. Um, there's something good. So today, I really want to go into talking about understanding really this financial jargon. How you doing, June, Danny? Um, what does it really mean? Because we've been hearing a lot about this word inflation. So we're going to talk about inflation, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. It really is cold uh, word. The reason why I say it's cold because a lot of people don't understand when the Fed says that they're going to fight vigorously to curb inflation and to reduce inflation. And I just want to have a conversation so you all know what's ahead. Um, and when they say that, they're going to really do whatever they have to do to curb and stop inflation. And inflation basically is the cost of things, goods, and services um, actually increasing more than your money that you have. That's from food to gasoline to housing to rent. I mean, to everything. I mean, it's uh, it's something that always, since I've been in the financial field, has always been an issue. And the Fed's job is to Federal Reserve. When I say the Feds, I mean the Federal Reserve. It's their job is to keep things balanced in harmony, so to speak. It's like if you had a personal dietitian that was with you, and you're free to go and do what you want to do, but sometimes if you eat too many, scoops of ice cream, that dietitian's will say, no, no, put it down. Or if you just eat too many burgers, they'll say, no, no, you had too many burgers, 2 days in a row, put it down. I'm your trainer. I have to keep you, in your best shape. It's kind of like athletes. especially basketball players, when they come to camp, when the season getting ready to start, they have to report to camp at a certain weight. They have to have certain body fat. Otherwise, I know with the Miami Heat, they'll suspend you or they won't play you until you get down and be conditioned so you can run. So the Federal Reserve is kind of like that with the economy. They're the one that says we're going to, tighten money, make it harder, or make money easy to borrow, or make money hard to borrow. Uh, that's what the Federal Reserve job is to do. Um, how you doing, Eddie Edwards? Joanne Witherspoon, Joseph, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm leaving this seat open because my sister-in-law, who I love so dearly, this woman's world, she'll be joining us, but I just didn't want to come. I've been here, so I just want to start the show because I got a lot to say to you all. She can join and she can drop in like bruh man on Martin. I mean, she it won't matter. It's no big deal. In other words. You ever see the people that whatever they do, that's like, get over it. Okay, it's okay. It's the past. Let's go. You ever see those people? Yes, that's my sister-in-law. I married her sister. I married the right one. It was 5 girls, but I knew which one, worked for me. But anyway, like I hear her coming through the back door of the office. But anyway, I was just explaining to you what the Fed's job is. How you doing, Doretha? Got to get on your girl. By being on time here, right? This is actually live show, unscripted. I guess I can tell that, right? But we come here every Saturdays because I want you to learn. On Wednesdays, my daughter Hyacinth and myself, we come on around 12:15 on Wednesday, and we talk about mind stuff. Miss Redhead, a few of y'all have tuned into that. That's every Wednesday, and it's mind stuff. It's the way the mind works, your thoughts, your subconscious mind, making yourself do the things that you ought to do, just giving you ideas and talking about things that really matter that most of us don't get a chance to talk to. It's like therapy, mental therapy, so to speak. We do that on Wednesdays at 12 noon, 12:15. That's my daughter Hyacinth and myself. And because we feel that in order to live a prosperous life, first of all, you have to get your mind right. You have to be there mentally, because everything starts with a thought. So you have to control your thoughts. And this is a spiritual war that's going on out here. It's just a war within yourself that's telling you, do this, don't do this. And, you really have to have good counseling, and you're not alone. So on Wednesday, that's what we talk about. And it's kind of like a prerequisite, really, to get you on ready for Saturday's show, where we actually talk about, financial products, whether there's annuities or real estate or stocks or, or insurance, or just tell you strategy, long-term care or healthcare with Donna, and also Larissa with taxes. So today we're going to talk about this whole understanding financial jargon. What is finance? What are they talking about? So when you hear them, I want you to listen to me very well. And throughout life, one of the things that should bring you comfort is this too shall pass. It always passes. If you look at your life and your experiences, whatever trials or tribulations that you went through, it does pass. I mean, it really does. So you can continue to look past it. My sister-in-law, Lynda, come on in here, girl. Just come. I prepared. I tell them I kept a seat for you, just like bruh, man. I got to put this
porch light on.
Keep this porch light on for you.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, world.
We already did that.
Look, did that?
Yeah, we did that.
Let's check in with all of our people. Did that?
Yeah, we already did that.
Did that too.
We already did that. Okay. We already did that. And anyway. Yeah, we already did that. So today, what we're talking about today, Miss Harris.
Yes, sir.
Is understanding financial jargon.
How to speak money. It's a different language. I tell people I'm bilingual. I speak English, a little bit of Ebonics, and I speak money.
No Spanish, no Creole?
Un poquito español, zapatea abule. That's all I got. do speak money.
Yeah,
And
you
it
do.
is it's an entirely different language.
Yes.
It's
If you
very
ask,
impressive too.
if you go to Surrey or go to the dictionary, you say, what does jargon mean? Jargon really means special words and expressions that are used
Mm-hmm.
by a particular group
Mm-hmm.
of professions or groups and are made difficult for others to understand. Can you believe that?
Ooh, so it's intentionally.
Yes. The jargon,
Jargon can be used for good and bad.
jargons, jargons,
Jargons.
jargons to You're right. You say it could be used for good and bad. Explain.
You ever get in a room with people that they may be in a certain industry, or even it could be financial, and they purposely use jargon, and then the layman don't understand,
Okay.
and they purposely talk, ETF. What do you think about the RNI? Oh, the ROI on it, and you just sit there like, now I know they can use other words to
So
include to be more inclusive.
right. So is this the good part or the bad part? Are you
That's the
saying?
bad part.
Okay, that's the bad part.
Why? Why
That's the
would
bad
you
to leave you out.
purposely? Yeah,
What's the
and
good
you know
part?
you in mixed company.
That's right. So what's the good part?
The good part is every profession needs to have, and I think it makes it easier. And once you learn it, um, it's easier to do your job.
Why is it easier?
It's the wording of it, the ROI. We have formulas in our head, net income, liability versus assets, and that makes it easier. Each profession has jargons for a reason.
Oh, I mean,
And so that's the good part, but it shouldn't be. It should be used for good, not evil.
but when it comes to our money,
Okay.
and all of us need this particular understanding about
Okay.
money, how to earn it, how to make it work for you, how to help your community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that it should be an obstacle or have jargon so much and purposely in that industry, because people, mom, pop, they want to know. I mean, I know that's why parables are used and in scriptures, or what does it really mean.
Mm-hmm.
I also find what you're saying is so true, because um in the legal field,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you sitting there and you have an attorney with you, and the attorney and the judge and other attorneys, they're speaking Greek, and you
Yeah.
don't understand, and it's your life or your money,
Yeah.
or your
Yeah.
time.
You know what else is a big one that really, the medical field.
Medical field is
Ooh,
huge with
you
financial
don't even think
jargon.
they're talking about you, and you're sitting in the room.
Right. And
You
they,
let two specialists come in and start
yeah.
talking about the BP and
and the medical jargon. And next thing you know, they telling you take your clothes off, and they getting ready to reel you into the operating room.
just have that experience with my mom. All right, we're gonna admit her. No, you're not. You're gonna tell me why you're admitting her. You're gonna speak English to me. You're gonna tell me what you found, or she will not be admitted. Because they walk in dollar signs, the elderly people.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. When it comes to elderly people, they look at cash, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Walking dollar signs.
So that's why today I want to talk about
Okay,
understanding financial jargon.
I like it.
Now, you've been hearing a lot in the financial world about the Feds are going to increase interest rates several times this year.
Yes, sir.
They've already increased it once, and then it's supposed to increase it again in May, and that's having a profound effect on the stock market and the equities markets. Now,
Ooh, equities, another word.
yeah, another equities.
That
Equities is just a slang for stocks, bonds. I mean, yeah, it's just another slang for it.
Okay.
Equities, growth, shares. Think about equities, shares, uh, stocks.
Mm-hmm.
They all mean the same,
Okay.
but they just like get different slang jargon.
Okay. All
And,
right.
and they purposely do that just so the layperson who they take your money,
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand. And that's something,
And that's something, and you leave there scratching your head saying, what did he just say?
right?
And you just sign the check.
You sign the check and you in the 30th
You don't
floor,
even know.
this big name and all that, and big
Floor to ceiling windows.
Yes, gold and all gold and chrome
Hot
and
coffee,
all that.
yeah.
Marble floors and all that, and you don't understand what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And your cousin just did me like that. He said he put his money with some people, and then he wanted me to explain to him what it all meant.
But
And that's
he
something.
put it with them,
You're
walked
right.
out,
Right.
wrote the check,
Right.
walked out, went home,
Right.
and was okay with
And
that.
figured he'll call me so I could break it down to him like a 6-year old in layman's. And
How'd
that's
that
something.
make you feel?
I saw him. I looked at him like, whoa, man, he's undeveloped.
Tell me that you
Like that word.
yeah, better than sinning.
But he did miss the mark.
Ah!
He did miss the mark.
Did you make it a teachable moment, or you just let it go?
No, I told him. I said, hey, just you know,
Did you tell them, why did you do that? Why did you let them people in that tall building do that? Did you give it to them?
no. If he was 16, I would have said it. But he's married with 5 kids, so I didn't say it. What I did was basically I said, well, if you get a printout, let me look at it, then I'll go over it with you.
Oh, you did that.
But it wasn't.
I'll get back with
But it
you.
really wasn't enough money for me to even want to have it. It really wasn't. But
Oh.
there again, he didn't know which way was up with it. He didn't know how to read the statements, but he just followed
He's
the crowd.
responsible for a wife and 5 kids.
Yes, and his money, but he
His
didn't
money.
he didn't know, and he didn't know how to ask people. All right.
Okay.
So,
All right.
how you doing, Blondette? Miss Dupree. Good morning. So we're talking about understanding financial jargon. So let's talk about the first one.
Okay.
Because the first one is really kind of creepy, so to speak. They let you know
Mhm.
what they're getting ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that they said they're going to try to stop and vigorously fight this inflation and the
Okay.
cost of goods and services.
Okay.
Now, one way how the Fed does that, they heighten interest rates, where it makes it money hard to borrow.
Okay.
Also, if the interest rates are higher, then it's supposed to stop uh, a lot of spending.
Okay.
Because money doesn't move. It's supposed to stop a lot of spending. And if it stops a lot of spending, that means that merchants, people who sell goods and services, would have to not keep increasing their prices. Because if so many people are in line, like you go to the restaurants, they're full, you got to make reservations.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like that, then they're going to continue to raise the prices. But if nobody's showing up, if it has stopped, then they can't continue to raise the prices because people won't come.
And
So they have to stop.
Those long lines will make that calamari go up higher.
Right.
And if nobody comes, we got specials and happy hours.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's when you see, you go to the stores and there's,
Mhm.
Red signs and 50% off and
Buy
this.
one, get one.
Right.
Yeah.
Buy one, get one. They're trying to induce you to come, to give them business so they can make money. Because right now, man, it's like, hey, it's one guy was telling me that his rent was $3,000 a month. And the landlord just told him, hey, starting next month, it's going to be $4,700. $1,700 more increase.
I've been hearing those horror stories.
Yes. And why are they doing it? Because they figure they can, because somebody's going to buy it and somebody's going to rent it. And that's what they're doing. Now, that same landlord, if he feels that he can get $4,700 that he was getting from this guy for the last 3 years, $3,000. But if he raises it and the guy moves, and that guy says, listen, he got to buy a property. Now, if the landlord says he wants to rent it for $4,700, but if nobody comes for $4,700, he's going to drop it down to $4,000.
Absolutely.
If nobody comes at $4,000, he's got to drop it down to $3,500. And now he's losing money because he ain't making nothing. He might wind up dropping it back down. That's what you call a sale. And that's what they're saying about they need to curb inflation. So what does that really mean? If they curb inflation, it's supposed to have a direct hit on the stock market. Now, because it was people making money in the stock market for the last 10 years, people are feeling more happy. They're feeling more richer.
Okay.
But if you see your portfolio going down, because even though the stocks of the companies, Apple or Google or whatever, or Home Depot, they're doing pretty well. Fundamentally, they're still making money. But when people perceive that there's going to be trouble ahead, especially American people, we run and we hide.
Gotcha.
So perception, fear, if you even
very powerful,
man, if you even feel like you're threatened, you're going to do something.
Right. I agree.
So what does it really mean? That means that I don't want to say they're going to intentionally crash this market, but they're going to intentionally bring hell on the markets. I want y'all to know that they're going to intentionally bring hell on the market. Now, you might say, why are they doing it? No, me, you, all of us had a part in this. Because when we continually go to restaurants, when we continually buy stuff, even though they increase the price of a popsicle, when we continue to do that, we are our own worst enemy.
Well, from what the experts say, some of them, depending on what side you're on, the exuberant spending was because there was so much stimulus money on the streets. That was money that was spent that wasn't earned. And that's when things get out of balance. If it was earned money, you wouldn't have seen people just going crazy. But the fact that it was at, some people with children got 600 a month per head. Some folks, I don't
Well, it
think
was needed
1,200
at
a
the
month.
time. It was needed.
But it also had played a part in
Well, COVID,
supply demand.
supply and demand played a
Mhm.
part because it was scarcity. And anytime there's scarcity on a product or service, they'll raise. If you want this, it's like, hey, do you want this blouse? But it's only one. People will get in line for it. But if they got millions of them, you can get them
There's
from
no
anywhere.
value,
It's
yeah.
the value drops. You,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right, right.
So really, we are the enemy. We found the enemy. It's us collectively. We really have. So now the feds have got to keep balance, so to speak. So
Mhm.
now they're going to give it to us hard. They're going to push it on us
Gotcha. By raising those interest rates.
by raising those interest rates and
Mhm.
trying to really bring the value of uh, assets down.
Now,
When you bring the
that's
value,
jargon.
why you say that? Because
Trying to bring the value of assets down.
when people are afraid,
Mm-hmm.
they do nothing. So if there are not a whole lot of people that are investing their money
Mm-hmm.
into the markets, that means the stock market is going to drop.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
when the stock market drops,
Mm-hmm.
then that means that people who are relying and they look at their statements and they get afraid,
Aha.
they're going to sell,
Okay.
which is going to cause an avalanche.
Okay.
And other people are going to sell, which then the market drops a lot. Now,
Okay.
this is all temporarily. I want you to know that. That's why I say this too shall pass. I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing this
Mm-hmm.
for over 30 years.
Mhm.
Yes, it does work and stuff will drop. Now you have to make the decision whether you want to just go down with it. If you don't need the money to pay your rent,
Should people be buying when
you,
that happens?
you're in a good position to
Okay.
to take advantage of the things that are on sale.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have all of your money in the stock market and you need to live off of it,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to be taking money out when the price of the values of the shares are lower. Now,
Ooh.
the safe haven is to go into what we call dividends. That's
Okay.
a financial jargon
That's
too, right?
jargon.
Okay. So let's talk about what is a dividend.
Go into dividends. Is that a club?
Dividends.
Dividends.
Friends with benefits. Y'all know what friends? How you doing, Miss Spain? Friends with benefits. What does that mean? When you hear the word friends with benefits, what does that mean to you?
I have no idea, Rob.
Okay, it don't have to be sexual or whatever.
I don't
but
know.
friends with benefits, that means that you hanging around this friend. You don't have a car. This friend has a car. So that's why he's a friend. So when you need to go somewhere, you can call him and her to give you a ride. That's a friend with a benefit.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Right. So friends with benefits. Think about that. Benefits. So dividends, when I think about dividends, I think about, it's kind of like if you have to wait in line, at least they can give you coffee. Or if you have to sit in the waiting room, the benefit, at least they can give you, a cup of tea or something. Those are like benefits. So you always want to look at, okay, if I got to do this, at least I can get this. So let's look at real estate.
Okay.
Because I want to explain benefits using understanding with real estate. Okay.
Well, you didn't explain go into dividends.
That's dividends. I'm going to talk about dividends.
Okay.
But oftentimes, to understand the word dividends, I need to give an example of something that is likened to a dividend.
Oh, you're doing one of your parables and the picture in your head thing.
But I'm trying to bring it forth.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
There's two houses
Mm-hmm.
next to each other.
Gotcha.
Y'all with me?
With you.
They look just identical, right?
Gotcha.
One house
Mm-hmm.
costs $100,000.
Gotcha.
You paid cash for that, but you're going to move inside of that.
Okay.
Okay, you got that?
Gotcha. Cash, 100 grand. I'm moving in.
But the house next door looked just like it, and you like that too. You want to buy that for investment, and it cost 100,000.
Okay.
So you bought that one.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live in two houses
No, you can't.
at the same time, at least.
Right.
So one house on the left, you bought it for 100,000, and you move in, and you're gonna decorate, and you're gonna live there. The house next door, you like that house too,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't move in. So what you decide to do is rent it.
Okay.
You paid 100,000 for it too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's 200,000. So
Gotcha.
200,000 of your assets, your investable dollars. One, you living in it.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, you're gonna rent it out.
Okay.
One of them's making you money because the one you living in, you ain't charging yourself. You ain't earning no money.
Right.
The one that's next door that you paid 100,000 for, you're gonna rent that out for $1,000 a month.
Okay.
That rent, since we're talking about real estate, in the financial world, if it was stocks or this was mutual funds or ETFs, exchange traded funds,
Okay.
that same concept that we call that a rental, in the financial world is called a dividend.
Okay.
And they don't call it rental. They call it dividend. It means the same thing. So you could buy
Mm-hmm.
a mutual fund or stock
Okay.
or exchange traded fund
Okay.
and not expect it to grow in value. You just need it to pay the rent. But it's not real estate. So you can't call it rent. You need to pay you what?
Dividend.
Dividends.
So anything that pays you from that asset.
Right.
One asset is a home.
Right.
And the other is a particular stock or security or fund or
right. So
it's an asset.
So in other words, so if we're talking real estate, if you want to rent something out, you call it rent because you're collecting rent.
Gotcha.
That's with real estate world. If it's in the equity stock market world
Mm-hmm.
and you buy some shares of a company
Mm-hmm.
and it pays you monthly also,
Mm-hmm.
we can't call it rent because it's not real estate world. This is the stock market world, the equities world. So the correct jargon term for receiving that money every
Mm-hmm.
month
Mm-hmm.
is called dividend.
But that would sound so cool at the water cooler. I guess we don't have that anymore. People working from home. To go and impress, maybe at a family dinner, go and impress the whole family by saying, you know what, how are your assets doing? Well, mine is reaping great dividends. What, you getting any dividends from your portfolio? All that sounds really good.
Yeah, but it's a lot of times when you do it at a family dinner or whatever, it's bragging. You've never heard me in all the 35 years talk about dividends or financial stuff during a family meeting.
No.
With Thanksgiving or whatever,
No.
because nobody want to hear that. And then plus, I don't want to come off as a show off. I'm the type of person, if you ask me, I will tell you, but I'm not getting ready to, waterboard you and just start telling you, did you know this? Did you know that? Did you know that? Why you not doing this? You should be doing this. The only reason why I don't do that because nobody did it to me. And
you think that's a bad thing?
What's a bad thing?
To speak jargon and see, I'm of the opinion it's not bragging if it's true.
No, but I think unless somebody asks you, you ain't gotta always be talking head.
Hey, everybody, my dividends. Yeah, you don't
right.
Do that.
You got dividends, I got dividends. You ain't got dividends. I mean, that's people don't want to hear.
Nobody want to hear that.
Right. But if you ask somebody, if you ask for help, then I want to give it to you.
Okay.
But other than that,
that's
I mean, just like on Easter, we went up to your brother's house,
mm-hmm.
and we was in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brody asked me, what did I think about, who was that? Somebody asked me about what I think about Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter. What effect do I think that would have? Mm-hmm. So then at that time, I started, giving my opinion. Gotcha. But other than that, I'm not talking. I'm like, where's the food? Let's eat, Okay, so that's a financial job. Did y'all understand that? It's called.
That was good. That was very, very good.
But so it's kind of like how doctors have their jargon, mm-hmm. and it is made difficult so the layperson won't understand.
Realtors have their jargon.
Realtor have their jargon. Yeah. So I want to go over a couple. So that's one. So we talked about inflation. You know what inflation is? That's the baby formula costs more this year than it cost last year.
Absolutely.
And if you're on fixed income, then all the grocery, the gas, everything is going up, but your Social Security check or your pension check is a certain flat amount, then it's like it's rising. The cost of goods and services are rising, and you're starting to drown.
Right.
That's what inflation is. Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
So now we just went over dividends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next one is let's talk about interest.
Hey, people, is that a jargon that's thrown around a lot?
People don't understand what interest really
They
is.
really don't. It's thrown around a lot.
Yes. People really. I mean, you got
Yeah.
because think about
That's
this.
a
You know,
very true statement.
you got people with PhDs, engineers, doctors. They're good in their professions, but when it comes to certain industries, they don't. They're like an infant. You know, they are totally undeveloped, and we get them all the time. When
Yeah.
we get people
And
that
it's okay because they're good at what they do.
that's right.
Yeah.
Just like me. I mean, if you ask me anything, name the parts that's under the hood of a car, I'm like an infant.
Or like a trainer that know how to make a dog go down just by snapping his finger.
No, I don't know how. I don't know about dogs. I don't know how to train a dog.
Okay.
I'm totally ignorant, or I would say I'm totally undeveloped in dog training. I don't know how to train a dog.
Okay.
And Linda saying that is because that was in the 90s. That had to be
Still funny.
that had to be probably about 1994.
Still cracks
And
me
Linda
up.
was present, and we had 1994. We had a client, and I was explaining something to him,
Or
and
maybe you were using jargon.
no,
No.
I usually don't use jargon, but I was explaining
Oh, I
something.
know the phrase that you said. You said it's a no-brainer.
Yes, I said
that
it's a
triggered
no-brainer.
him.
It triggered him because I was explaining something to him. I said, man, it's a no-brainer. And he said, Mr. Henderson, it's a no-brainer to you because you understand this. This was 1994. He said it's a no-brainer to you, but I don't know. I don't understand it. And in 1994, he said, well, Mr. Henderson, do you know how to make a dog go down? I said, what? We're in the office, and he said, do you know how to make a dog go down? I said, no, I don't know how to make a dog go down. And Lynda just cracked up
He
laughing.
said, now that's a no-brainer to me.
He said, that's a no-brainer to him. And you and Lynda never forgot that.
It's classic.
She's never made sure that I never.
So anytime he speak over my head or try to, because he can't speak over my head, not much, I come back to him to bring him back to that 1994 moment when I say, well, do you know how to make a dog go down? Because to you, when you say, oh, come on, simple Simon, no brainer. You know how to make a dog go down?
Yes, 1994.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We digress, but
yeah. Okay. All right. So, and the only reason why we're sharing that story with you, a memory, that was a memorable moment.
totally.
She's never forgot it.
Never.
And that was 1994. So that was 27 years ago. Can you believe it? Yes, 27 years ago. I've been doing this for 37 years. I was 10 years in it. So I've gotten better. And that's why I keep things simple, because this is our money. This is our life.
Absolutely.
What we're doing here at the Henderson Financial Group, you're not going to get it probably nowhere else. And we do it because of our experience, just like that 27 years ago. So if you call Fidelity, Vanguard, they ain't got time for you, just like your cousin. He put his money in Schwab and they put it in all kind of XYZ funds, and he didn't know what it means, And, and in the legal field, they're not getting ready to break it down to you. You're either going to be convicted or not, or you better have some money.
Oh my God.
Okay.
No.
And then the medical field, they ain't breaking it down for you. Yeah. Half of the medicine that they prescribe, we can't even pronounce it.
Oh
we can't even spell it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it has all of the side effects, where you're going to have hair coming out of your throat, out of your mouth growing or something, but you got to take that. Yeah. Okay, that's another thing. Okay. So let's get to these financial jargons. Okay, let's talk about interest.
Okay.
So interest. Dividends comes from ownership. Because I gave the example of Lynda, there was two houses, one 100,000, next 100,000, next year. She lived in one, and we live in one, but then you want to also get some money off one. You call that the rent.
That was good.
That was it. But that's a real estate. So you got to keep the terminology with the subject,
Okay.
with the industry.
Okay.
Different terminology goes with different industry. Case in point, if I say
Mm-hmm.
he hit a home run, what industry I'm talking about?
Baseball.
That's good.
I knew that.
That's good.
I knew that.
Some people would say, was that football? No, but if you understand the concept of baseball, if I say a home run, you know it's what? Baseball.
Baseball.
Okay. What if I say he slam dunked on that dude? He slam dunked.
Oh, I know that.
What is that?
Basketball.
But that's a terminology too, slam dunk.
So that it is.
What if I say he hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer?
That's basketball.
See? It's still a point. A home run in baseball, that's still, they got a point. A 3-pointer or he slam dunk, it's different terminology because we're talking about basketball, but it's still what? A point.
Mm-hmm.
What if I say he scored a touchdown? What sport are we talking about?
That's definitely football.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if you don't know that, and they do the same thing with our money,
Mm-hmm.
from the legal to the medical to the financial. And they know we need all of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like life or death. It's happiness or sadness. But they continually, purposely do it. So it's called jargon.
Okay.
Look what jargon means. Jargon, jargon. Okay. So interest. What is interest? So interest is a loan. When you hear anybody being charged interest, or if you're receiving interest,
Okay.
what does banks pay people who put their money inside of a bank?
Barely nothing, but supposedly interest savings account, but it's pennies. It's pennies.
So do banks pay dividends?
They do not.
No, because dividends means ownership. You own something. Interest goes hand in hand. As soon as you hear the word interest, I want you to think of a loan, borrow.
Whether you made a loan,
That's right,
or you took a loan out.
That's right. You giving to somebody a loan.
The word interest will apply.
That's right.
Gotcha.
It ain't dividend
because you don't own it,
and it ain't rent.
No,
because rent will go with. So if you go to a bank, is the bank paying you rent?
No, sir.
No, because rent is associated with what? What industry?
Real estate industry, housing.
That's
industry.
right. Would a bank pay you dividends?
No, sir.
No, because dividends associated with what?
Ownership.
Right. Markets, shares. So anytime you're dealing with a bank and you want banks to pay you, you're getting what? Interest. So where does interest come from? A loan. Now, if the bank paying you interest, and you don't have no loan with the bank, you just have your money saved in the bank, why would the bank be paying you interest? Because interest can only be paid if there's a loan component somewhere. Yeah. So when they Jedi mind us with this financial literacy stuff, talking about what is a bank?
Right.
A bank is there to help the community. A bank is where you save your money. No, a bank is where you lend your money to the bank and the bank pays you nothing because they pays you interest, a little bit of interest. So when you put $10,000 in the bank, you are actually lending $10,000 to the bank because the bank gonna pay you a little bit of interest.
Teeny tiny. And then how much do they charge? So that word interest still applies to the bank in two ways. They're paying you a little bit of interest, but they're loaning your money out, the word loan, for a lot more interest.
Yes.
And credit cards.
Yes.
One thing you like to say, boat loans.
Yes.
So the word interest is all up in there.
Yes. It's a loan happening somewhere. There's a loan behind the curtains. So if you go to one of these banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever, they give you these credit cards.
Right.
Chase.
Right.
If you put $10,000 in there, you lending them $10,000. Don't get it twisted with these words and this jargon. Investing. No, you're not investing. You're lending them money. They're gonna do whatever they want to do with your money. They're gonna turn around and give it to Ms. Rudolph on a credit card and charge her 29%, 18% interest. Because interest means that you borrow, you loan, and you got to pay back.
Right.
So when you put your money in the bank, they're paying you interest. They're gonna pay you back your money.
So what say you to the person that says, "Nuh-uh, Mr. Henderson, I put my money in a CD. I put my money in a money market fund, an interest bearing money market fund.
A loan. And a CD, it's a loan. Anytime anybody pays you interest or you paying somebody interest, back of the curtains, there a loan took place. They don't want to use the jargon. They could tell you saving your money. We're gonna pay you interest. No, no,
Right.
you lending your money. For a little bit, you lending your money. You lend $100,000 and they pay. And the only thing you give somebody, you lend the bank or anybody $100,000 and they don't have to pay you nothing but $50 at the end of the year.
I cringe when I see that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You wouldn't lend it to your next door neighbor for 100,000. Tell them just pay me back
No,
50,000. Just pay me
no,
back $50
no.
for the
I
year in
cringe when I
interest.
see people having all this. Anyway,
It's $2 trillion right now sitting in banks getting a little bit of interest.
but
Two
they're
trillion.
but and a lot, very often those same people have credit cards from that same
That's right.
institution
That's charging them
at
10,
double
12,
digits.
yeah,
Okay.
18%. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So that's interest. That's why a student loan is that you paying when you borrow and you for education and you have student loan debt,
Mm-hmm.
they charge you interest because they're loan. I want y'all to think about this. What I'm saying, it's a loan. See what we going on right now. This is true financial literacy, understanding. All you're get understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get understanding. You know, you're not too old to understand. You're really not. As long as you still have a pulse, you should be eager. And now is a good time when you get 40, 50 years old. I mean, you start saying, let me find out, really what's going on.
You know what was a jargon that was kind of sexy to me?
What?
If I heard a man say it,
What?
because I hear it a lot,
What?
was when we're maybe meeting or first date, and he talks about his portfolio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Because sometimes
Portfolio.
people don't know. You'll be surprised how many people. It's a little better now, but just 10 years ago, that word a lot of people was not familiar with.
But portfolio,
It's so I
that
used to
word,
like that.
that jargon portfolio
Uh-huh.
can cross different industries. It's like
Mm.
if I say
Okay.
home run, we know that's baseball.
Right.
If we say touchdown, we know that industry
To
is
that,
football.
right.
If we say now, we know. If we say interest, we know that's some sort of loan.
Okay.
Either you paying interest or you receiving interest, but it's a
Okay.
loan, right?
Okay. Mhm.
So we know that, right?
Mhm.
But when you say portfolio,
Oof.
so let me break it down to you what a portfolio, just the whole understanding, so you can get an understanding of portfolio in its totality.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so this is a beautiful blouse you have on.
Thank you.
Okay, it's part of your dress portfolio.
Yeah, it's my closet has my portfolio.
Yes.
All of the different. Yeah.
Anybody that's lucky enough to and blessed enough to have a closet with an assortment of different type of clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You have a closet, and
Hmm.
inside of your closet is your portfolio of different type of clothes.
So like a clothing portfolio.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure everything in your closet isn't black.
No.
And the same thing.
No, sir.
I'm pretty sure you have something in there red.
I do.
I know that. And I'm pretty sure you have something in there fuchsia color.
Oh yeah. Oh, good for you.
I know you have something in there that's yellow. Bright.
Yes.
I know you have something in that's orange.
Yes.
I know you have something that's floral.
Yes.
With all of those are your portfolio. So portfolio means different items inside of a compartment, so to speak. A real estate portfolio, you have duplex, you have 10 units, you have 20 units, you have land, real estate, but that's your portfolio. Let me see your portfolio. When I was going to Miami-Dade Junior College, and it's my second year studying architectural design and graphics, the professor said, Rob, CBS Channel 4 has an opening. And he said that he knew the director there, because they called and said, you have any students to come down here and work part-time?
Okay.
He said, Henderson. I was the only black person in the class. He was a white guy, Jewish guy. He says, Henderson, hey, take your portfolio and go down and show Milt at CBS Channel for all of your stuff. Now, here I am, 21. No, I think I was 19.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned the word portfolio.
Ooh.
Portfolio was all my different drawings that I had did.
Put it all in
Paul
one
in
closet.
one
or
case.
One,
It was
yeah.
in one like
Okay.
attaché case.
Okay.
And I took them down there and opened them up. And he said, "Let me see your drawings." They wasn't the same. They were
Right.
different, you know, different drawings of different Eiffel Tower, people, things, buildings, you know, cartoon characters. But it was a diversific. Oh, that's not the word. It was a portfolio
Uh-huh.
of different, but it was my portfolio.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So when we talk about bring it home to the financial industry, when I'm at a cocktail party or some man is trying to impress me and he talks about his portfolio, he's
Right.
talking about the various investments, assets.
Yes.
He's talking about the various, it could be stocks in in his investment account.
Yes. He could have stocks, he could have bonds, he can have real estate, you know, he can have land, he can have commercial buildings, but that is his portfolio in terms of his investment, things that are going to grow. He's going to make more money and increase his network. He has a great portfolio. He's diversified, has a little oil, has a little gold, you know. So that's his portfolio.
Yeah,
These
I
are
always like
financial
that word.
jargons.
Mm-hmm.
Portfolio. You always like that,
I
huh?
always like that.
So when you look at portfolio, to get the understanding, it goes into different areas. It just means that you have a portfolio of shoes in your closet.
This is true.
That's your portfolio. You have a
But I'd rather you have a portfolio of investments than clothes and shoes.
okay,
Okay.
but y'all get the y'all picking up what I'm putting down. That's my daughter Heisey like to say. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Because I want you to understand this is true financial literacy.
This
Okay.
really is.
So now, what about we talked about portfolio? What about
Mm-hmm.
depreciation?
Oh, another big one.
Depreciation.
Yeah.
Depreciation.
That's something those accountants, CPAs like to use.
Yeah. Real estate too.
Real estate too. Oh
Depreciate.
yeah.
So let's break down
That's another one.
depreciation. What does it really mean? Depreciation. Okay. So when I think about that,
Mm-hmm.
as I was learning this, because when I was going to school learning this, now I wasn't talking about going to college because they don't teach you this. I've always went to trade school, special stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like a CFP or a certified financial planner. But then just because I had the CFP,
all those initials behind your name.
yeah, but a lot of CFPs don't know what I know because anytime you get a designation,
mm-hmm.
it just proves that you can start and complete an assignment.
You're disciplined enough.
That's it.
To study and pass the people test.
But it doesn't give you wisdom and understanding.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, because there's a lot of people good in academics, memory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got PhDs.
Some people are great test takers.
Great test
takers.
takers.
That's a skill.
Right.
Oof.
Okay. And even with that,
mm-hmm.
when you're trying to become a contractor
mm-hmm.
or a lot of the tests that you can, if you pass, it's a key that you can have the possibility of earning above average income.
Mm-hmm.
Those tests are not, they filled with jargon.
Oh, yes.
They're filled with jargon.
Oh, my goodness.
The question
goes, fail almost.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, here is one.
Okay.
The let me see what I'm trying to say. Okay, here's one.
Okay.
Here, you're gathered today, and there is a special regatta. There's a special regatta that is happening in Florida.
Okay.
How often does the regatta take place?
Okay.
Now, you look in there, you study. Regatta is not your culture. You don't know what a regatta is. You want to just, can somebody break it down? No, this is test time and you have so many. And they use the vocabulary. If only you knew what the word regatta mean, then you can get it right.
Right.
But if you don't,
only you knew.
But if you didn't, when you come up in the hood, a regatta is a gathering of boats. Ain't nobody in your neighborhood had no boat.
Right.
So how you gonna get that right?
Right.
So a lot of the tests, the vocabulary in the question itself, you don't understand. You don't even understand the vocabulary used to ask the question.
So how will you answer it?
How would you answer it?
Right.
You don't understand the terminology, the vocabulary used to answer the question.
Gotcha.
So it's not just, do you know the subject matter?
Mhm.
Do you also understand the vocabulary and the terminology that was used in order to answer the question?
Absolutely.
You know the answer if they would have not used that terminology or that vocabulary to ask you the question.
Right. Right. Right.
Can the church say amen? Okay, so what we're talking about depreciation.
That's a good one.
Depreciation. When I think about depreciation, think about a mango. That's popped in my head. A mango that came off the
Lord,
tree.
how did we get a mango with depreciation? Can't wait to hear this one. Such a vivid imagination.
My mind, I just thought about a mango, and I thought about the mango that are like gold and ripe with a little reddish to it.
Oh,
you get that picture?
I love it. Yes.
A nice fat mango,
firm and
it has like a little goldish, like a tan gold to it, but then it has a little red to it. Oh man, that's gonna be a good one, right? Okay, so I thought about that when you said depreciation.
Okay,
but then we sat it on the table, and as days went by, it became less. The appearance was starting to decay. And after a month, or 2 months, or 3 months, or 4 months,
it's all black now.
Yeah, it's starting to rot.
On it. Yeah,
it was starting to depreciate. It was starting to go down.
Okay.
It was depreciating.
Less in value.
Less, yes.
Less desirable.
Yes.
Okay.
Now apply that with anything. That's a car. There's
a husband.
Don't go there. She would say a husband depreciating.
Okay. Mango. I got you.
Okay. The Rita say that mango is sweet. That is a sweet one, right? Okay. So depreciation. So apply that.
Okay.
Real estate. When you buy real estate, according to the U.S. tax codes for tax deductions, not your house that you live in, but that rental property that you rent. In other words, let's go back to the example earlier.
Okay.
Here is a house cost $100,000. You bought it cash. You moved into it. Gotcha. The one next door cost $100,000. You bought it cash. You didn't move into it because you couldn't live in two houses at the same time. So you rented it out to get what? Rent, right?
Absolutely.
Not dividends, but what? Rent.
Absolutely.
The house that you live in, when you get ready to do your taxes, you can't have no tax deductions and call it depreciation because you're living in the house. But the same house next door on your taxes and you renting it out, there's a slot there that says the house depreciates every year.
That's that mango.
And you get a tax credit for it because now the house ain't depreciated. You was paying the house, it's good. But according to the U.S. tax law for taxes, since you can afford to buy, not only live in your house, but buy a rental property, and you are providing housing for another person, and you're renting it out, the U.S. tax code says we're going to give you a bang for that. When you get ready to file your taxes for that property on next door, you collecting rent, there's a slot that says depreciation deduction.
So you get to write off a little more
every year. Every year, the house, in terms of tax, dies like that mango.
So it's just depreciating on paper because know it's going up in value.
Right.
You're getting your same rent. As a matter of fact, you get more rent than last year, but only on paper.
Right.
Which adds to your bottom line because that gives you an additional write-off.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that's a depreciation. Cars depreciate. As soon as you buy a car and drive it off the lot, it's just depreciated 25% because now it's a used car.
All my life. Yeah.
Yes, depreciation. I want you to think of the mango depreciation. Now you say men depreciate, but women depreciate too. Everybody. Gravity hit y'all. Gravity hit everybody and depreciate and push everything down. Gravity is up high. I don't care if you I don't care if you went and got some surgery.
Well, some
That
people
gravity gonna bring it down.
appreciate. She go to the doctor, and next thing gravity is back up.
Yeah,
She
but
appreciates.
gravity's steady depreciating
This is true.
everything. Okay,
Yes.
it's so depreciation means to just think of it is the value, whether it's on paper wise or actually, the food, it's starting to decay. It's starting to depreciate. Okay. And real estate, every year you can get a tax deduction, even though the property not really dying, it's not crumbling. But on paper wise, tax wise, the U.S. tax code, you get a credit for that. You get a deduction for that.
So that's how you pass the test. By when you see the word depreciation,
Right.
You think of that mango.
That's right.
Start out orange, reddish.
That's Robert.
Firm,
that's how Robert.
Sweet.
That's how Robert Jr.
And then
passed
as
all
it
his
sits there and time goes by, but every year you get to depreciate and write off. So that's time going by. That's that mango getting.
I had to understand the way Junior understood. I needed all the help. This black boy, I had to. All them people didn't look
we
like
had
me.
Mangoes in our hood.
That's right. I had to. Everything I put in picture, all the words.
I cannot believe, but you know what? It worked.
No, it really did.
You passed the people test.
And they were looking at me like, how you passed that? They didn't know internally I was using metaphors, parable, pictures to say, that's just like this.
Mango and depreciation.
Okay.
But it works. And I get it. And now something wrong with me. I can't start speaking Robert.
And then, in real estate, this says, okay, you're going to do a straight line depreciation. You can actually depreciate this over 27 years. Okay. So the house costs $100,000 in rental divided by 27 years. And every divided by 27, then that means every a year you get a depreciation, a tax deduction on your income taxes.
Gotcha.
It's better than having 10 children. I mean, okay. Anyway. Okay, that's depreciation. Man, we run out of time. Okay, listen.
Man, time flew by. Be quiet.
Well, I was here the whole
time.
I was here the whole time. But anyway.
Okay.
Arbitrage.
Oh.
Arbitrage.
That's kind of new.
No, that's been around.
It's not new, but it's being used more, I think. No.
Well, it's just
it's come to light more. I don't know.
I mean, it's like the cameras on the phone now. It's just more, you can see it more. and plus they talk about it more, but for 100 years they didn't really talk about it. But America is built on arbitrage. It really is. It's like buying this pen in China for a penny, the same pen, and bringing it over to America and charging $1 for it.
That's a form of arbitrage.
That's a form of arbitrage. You bought it low and you sold it high. If Chase is giving lines of credit out for people who have at least 700 scores, you can get $50,000 as a line of credit. If your credit is good, 700 at least, they'll give you $50,000 right now.
Okay.
At 5% interest.
Okay.
So now you got Chase money.
Okay.
You take that 50,000.
Okay.
Like this pen, and you go put it over in another financial. You bring it to the Henderson Financial Group. We take that same money and put it into an ETF that pays 10%. Now, you took somebody else's money at 5%. You put it over here, and you're getting 10%. So after the 10% pays you, you take 5% and pay Chase, and you keep the 5% free. That's arbitrage.
Okay.
That's how the rich get richer. Okay. That's how banks do people. When you actually put money in the banks and lend money to the banks for a penny, and the banks turn around and lend it to the next customer for 18%, credit cards, loans, all that.
That money you have in the bank, would you say trillions, where they pay
2
you
trillion.
itty
bitty money.
Itty bitty money. And then what did Rita say? I learned that word from Lynda.
When she became a member of
the HFG.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Arbitrage. Yeah. Arbitrage. Man, we're over time right now because James T and myself at 10:15, we're coming up Understanding Money Part 2. We're going to recap all this, okay? But I want you all to
that's another word that will impress me if a dude knew what that was.
What, arbitrage?
Yeah.
That sounds sexy.
Yeah, just getting up there.
Buying something or but the whole wholesale market and everything, Retailers is arbitrage.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you go buy a shirt or whatever from the store, retail, whatever they selling to you, they got it for cheaper.
So the ultimate sentence would be, I have a great diversified portfolio, but I earn a lot of my money by utilizing arbitrage. Oh, you got me.
Ah. Now, on the test, if on the financial test, if you were saying, if they said to you, "Hey, Lynda,"
Uh-huh.
and you didn't know the word, the vocabulary, so the test says, "What is the benefit of using arbitrage?" And you taking a test,
Oh, and you don't know what the
and you
word
don't even know what
means.
arbitrage means. That's how these tests are. They screw you up, not only asking you the question,
Yeah.
but they screw you
You
up.
got to know what that word means to
You
pass it.
They put terminology and vocabulary in the question,
Yeah.
so it's no way you're gonna answer the question.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have understanding. You can't
Yes,
memorize that.
that's
You got to
life.
understand, because then they'll ask it backwards. And you got
Yes,
to know what the word means. Right?
yes, yes. All right, James T. say, Lynda, you're welcome to stay over. You want to hang in there with me and James T?
You know, because I was late,
Okay, you can
I
hang.
got to work overtime. My
Okay,
boss making me work overtime.
so what does that mean?
I will be here.
Okay, so Lynda gonna stay with us, James. She's gonna stay and hang
And you
out
know
with
he
us.
my boss. Either he gonna dock my pay, or he gonna make me work overtime, or suspend me for being late. So in this case, I work overtime.
You know, I can't believe you just lied to the general public on Facebook. It's worldwide, Lynda. You know, you just lied, and y'all know I ain't her boss. Y'all know I don't dock her. Y'all know that. You know that. That's pretty bad, Lynda. You know, but I have to correct you. Linda's my wife's sister. You think I'm her boss? Does Linda sound like she gonna let anybody boss her? No.
Well, the
we
way
we
you
we
come at me for being late, you would think those are some of the choices you
people
had.
wait. People
I
waiting.
used to be like, when I worked
People
for the
waiting.
city of Miami, I just 1 minute late. Boy, you docked me. I'm like, this some bull.
I ain't dock
You
you.
know, that give me shiver when you talk. How dare you late? How dare and you standing there like this?
I didn't stay
You
there.
trigger me.
I was here.
Back with
I,
the city
I
of
started. We're supposed
Miami,
to start at 9 o'clock.
where the
Started
people
9:05.
docked me because the elevator didn't move fast
You can when you
enough.
want to come. So you still on. And you'll be back here. Nice to get ready to do a second show. And to be back here next week. So what are you talking about? You know, y'all don't believe that mess. All right. Listen. Hey, I love you too, Miss Spain. I love you. I love you. I love you all. James T. Okay, so we're gonna sign off. We're gonna take a water break. We'll be back here in about 10 minutes. All right. So y'all stay tuned. We're gonna bring James T from Hot 105.
Yes.
He's a brother from another mother of ours. He's gonna speak, and we're going to. I know he's taking notes. He's been listening because he
James
always
speak the truth. So
no.
sometimes I think he just be on your side for that male bonding.
No.
But I really think he just speak the truth.
You say sometimes you think he be on my side for
Just
male
for some
bonding?
male
Nah, James
bonding.
ain't gonna be that.
But
No,
the
he's
more I
not like
get to
that.
know him, the more he'll say, "Now, Rob." He'll tell you when you know off base and wrong and stuff. So yeah.
But
James,
truth is truth, Lynda. You'll tell me that often. Truth is truth. I ain't saying nothing. All my stuff is love, peace, harmony, community, respect, growth, prosperity. That's it. Now look at that. She don't want to hear that. At least I ain't say the word sin.
Phew, thank you.
All right, y'all. We'll be back. Give us about 7 minutes, and we'll be right back here for Understanding Money Part 2 with special host James T from Hot 105. Hey, and y'all make sure y'all share this. I hope y'all learned something today, but stick around. You're gonna learn even more because we're gonna come from a whole other point of view and concept. All right. Love y'all. Peace. Be safe and cover up. Bye bye.